Okay, so we will just start the session in a few minutes from now. Just people are just logging in, and we are all set to begin with the seminar. I hope I'm audible. In case if you face any problem in listening to me, please notify me. I'll make the necessary adjustments. Okay,
Yes, you're audible.
thank you. So, welcome everyone. The Mira Road CP Study Circles welcome you all. I hope you are able to see my PPT presentation as well. So this is the Mira Road CP Study Circle of Vasai branch of WIRC ICAI. Some important notes I would like to make before we start this meeting. Please provide me your kind attention. Please note that we are using the Microsoft Teams as the platform for today's presentation. You have the chat box. In case you have any questions, any comments to make, you can use the chat box below to put in your comments and questions. In case we request you all to please be on mute on the entire session. Unmute yourself only when the speaker allows you to talk. In case you have any queries, you wish to raise your hand, you can use that feature. We would be notifying the speaker. In case if he allows, we will unmute you or ask you to unmute yourself, and then you can have your questions. There is an option of more actions below the screen. You can use that to maybe full screen your window or any other features that Microsoft Teams might provide. I would also like your attention on this point that this session is being recorded, but you are not allowed to record this webinar because of the privacy issues. We might or might not share this recording in future. At this point of time, I do not have the right or any instructions to do that, but just for the sake of convenience, we are still recording this webinar. Okay, so Siddharth, are you with me on this call?
Yes.
Yeah. Is Shweta ma'am also inside?
Yeah.
Okay. Just give me one moment. I'll request her to speak a few lines. Okay, hello everyone. I just spoke to Shweta ma'am. She is facing some technical issues to log in. She is logged in actually, but she is unable to unmute herself and maybe speak in the webinar. So some technical glitches do come up. We are very sorry for it. Moving ahead, this was to be done by Shweta ma'am, but I will do it on her behalf. Introducing the speaker, CA Vivek Shah. CA Vivek Shah is a practicing chartered accountant from Mumbai, having specialized in information system audit and forensic audit. Prior to starting his practice, he has worked at Deloitte. Currently, his clients range from startups to public limited companies listed on the stock exchange. His clients are spread across various sectors such as real estate infrastructure, gems and jewelry, investment banking, and many more. He has addressed businessmen, professionals, students, bankers, CBI officers, and bureaucrats of various ministries of the Indian government at multiple organizations across the country. He has been selected as an international speaker by the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India for UAE VAT. Without further ado, I would like CA Vivek Shah to take over this session and start the session for today.
Sure. Thank you very much. I recognize the presence of our newly elected council member, regional council member, CA Shweta Jain ji, who comes from your branch. In addition to it, I would also like to thank her and the team of Mira Road CP Study Circle for giving me this opportunity and having me here on a Sunday morning on a topic which is actually quite interesting right now, because everyone wants to know about blockchain and cryptocurrency and what are the technical and legal issues as far as cryptocurrencies in India are concerned. So with this, we begin our presentation. I would request the organizers to share my presentation on the screen right now.
Sure. Just give me a moment. I'll share the presentation.
Sure. So just to understand, just to share a perspective, how many of us have actually invested in cryptocurrencies till now? As in, I'm sure none of it is going to be shared with the income tax department or any other law enforcement agency. But has anyone actually invested in any cryptocurrency till now? Or I wouldn't say invest, because the correct term would not be an investment. Okay, so someone has said yes, someone has invested. Okay, that's glad to know. Someone else has also. There are two answers that we've got till now. Yeah, you can remain anonymous and you can also given your answers if that option is available on Microsoft Teams. And even if you want to give your names, it's fine. No one's going to report it to the income tax department. All right, Prakash has also invested in cryptocurrency. That's nice to know. We are exploring different asset classes. I'm sure since we are chartered accountants, we know what are the risks associated with an asset class which is not regulated. So as we begin our presentation, let's proceed with the presentation. So as we begin with our presentation, I always tell everyone that whatever we discuss, next slide, please.
Just a second. Yeah.
Yes. So as and when we discuss, all our discussions should be something that should benefit the nation. Today, if on a Sunday morning, around 30 to 40 people have joined us for this presentation, it means that you all are actually interested. Otherwise, Sunday morning ko kaun aata hai? Matlab, it's really difficult to get people to come on a Sunday morning. Yes, I will be explaining. I've just got a message that please explain for beginners. Yes, I will be covering everything from scratch. First, I will explain. I'll just give you what is the flow of this program. First, I will explain what is the technology. Then I will explain what are cryptocurrencies. And third and last, we will discuss whether one should invest, not invest, park their money or not in cryptos. And finally, what are the legal and taxation related issues in that. So this will be covering most of the members over here, people who are either inclined towards the technology side, people who are inclined towards the legal and the taxation side, and finally people who are inclined towards the investment side. So we will be covering all three aspects in this presentation today morning. So let's next slide, please. All right. So when we begin this topic about blockchain technology and cryptocurrency, first and foremost, I would like to explain that blockchain is the underlying technology which is used for one application which is known as cryptocurrency. So currency is just one application, whereas the technology is much larger and there are many more applications. However, the most widely used application today is cryptocurrency. And in cryptocurrency also, there are thousands of currencies which are floated in the market. Some are good, some are bad, some are ugly, some are manipulated, some are not manipulated, some are purely on demand and supply, some are backed by some corporations, some are backed by some people, whereas some are neither backed by corporations or nor backed by people. So blockchain is the technology which we as chartered accountants should understand at this juncture of the economy, because blockchain is going to revolutionize the way we transact with each other, and it is redefining the way we transact with each other. And if you think this is a large statement, or it is an incredibly far-reaching statement, it is true because this will change the way we interact with each other. I will give you a very small example. uh, earlier banking used to be done traditionally, where you go to the bank, you fill in a slip, you withdraw money or you deposit money. That is how banking was done initially. From the early 2000s, banking started happening through web applications. So people were laughing कि आप पहले बोल रहे हो कि मैं करोड़ों रुपए का ट्रांजैक्शन मेरे घर पे या मेरे ऑफिस में बैठ के मैं कर सकता हूँ मेरे कंप्यूटर पे बैठ के. So people were laughing at that time. How can you do something like this without going to the bank? Come 2010, people were laughing कि you पहले हम बैंक में जाते थे, उसके बाद हम बैंक को अपने ऑफिस में ले आए, and now you're saying that bank is in my hand on my phone. So people were again laughing at you that can we do crores and crores of rupees of transaction on our mobile phone? It is true, we can do it even today. Now, when blockchain gets introduced into the banking system, that is when we will be able to do transactions much faster across countries, not just in India. Across countries, we will be able to do transactions in a manner which is verifiable and in a manner which is quick and efficient.
Hello.
Blockchain technology uses the openness of the internet,
Sir,
and it
वो
uses
link
the
register किया
security
है?
of cryptography.
हाँ,
Nishchit, I think
वो
you need to mute yourself if
लिंक भी
possible.
आया रहेगा सेकंड मेल.
Yeah, sorry, it's not me. Just
जाने मैं व्हाट्सएप कर देता हूँ आपको.
Oh, okay, sure.
हाँ, आपको मेल में आएगा जिस.
sorry, done. Okay.
No problem. That's fine. So it uses the openness of the internet. Now, iska kya matlab hai? What is the openness of the internet? Anyone, absolutely anyone who has access to the internet will be able to access blockchain. Now, understand the importance of this. In India, the cost for 1 GB of internet is $0.08. Well, 8 cent is the cost per GB of data in India. It is one of the cheapest in the world. Now compare it with the developed world, or compare it with the advanced countries. Yeah, compare it with the advanced countries or compare it with the developed world. It is much higher. For example, yesterday only I was fortunate to attend and also present at the international conference of the ICI, the virtual conference, and the data statistics given by a council member over there was that we are using one of the cheapest internets in the world, and compare it with US where it is $8 per GB, or compare it with the Middle East where it is somewhere around $5 to $7 per GB, or compare it with other developing nations also where it is $2 to $3 per GB. Whereas in India, we are using it at 5 rupees per GB. Now, imagine the power that Indians have to access blockchain with such low and competitive internet rates. So anyone with internet will be able to access blockchain. That's point number one. Second point is what about the security? As far as security is concerned, the security of cryptography is integrated. It is a part and parcel of blockchain. इसका ये मतलब होता है that all transactions are secured by way of cryptography. Now, what is cryptography? Cryptography is the same technology which is used to secure our banking transactions. Generally, whenever you're transacting on your mobile, or whenever you're transacting on your laptop on any internet banking website, these transactions are secured with either 128-bit SSL encryption or 256-bit SSL encryption. Now, the same technology will also be used in blockchain. I'll give you one more other common example which we can use. Whenever you use WhatsApp, there is a message which comes at the top which says that all the messages are secured with end-to-end encryption. So encryption is a layer of security. It is a feature of security जिसका ये मतलब होता है कि और कोई आपके ट्रांजैक्शन को नहीं देख सकता है। आपने कई होर्डिंग्स भी देखे होंगे रोड्स पे, हाईवेज पे, जहां पे व्हाट्सएप के होते हैं दैट it is the most secure form of communication. Of course, that's an advertisement. Advertisements could mean anything. Yeah, so as far as security is concerned, blockchain uses the highest level of security, and that is using the security of cryptography. Next slide, please. Now, what exactly is blockchain? As I already explained, it is the underlying technology which was originally developed for a digital currency, and that currency happens to be called as Bitcoin, which was the first digital currency or the first cryptocurrency, as we may call it. Now, it can be used for multiple applications. Cryptocurrency is just one small application of a much larger technology called as blockchain. आपको और एक example देता हूँ. Assume blockchain and compare it with the internet. Google is just one small application or a search engine on the whole of the internet. Internet is much larger. Similarly, blockchain is much larger than just one small application called as cryptocurrency. So what Google is to internet is what cryptocurrency is to blockchain technology. So blockchain technology is the larger part and cryptocurrency is just a very small part of the technology. And however, right now, most of the transactions that are happening on blockchain are only and only for cryptocurrency. But that does not mean that it cannot be used for all other purposes, such as banking, such as supply chain management, medical records, health records, insurance, regulations, and so on and so forth. Just to share a perspective and give an example, a lot of times, at least in Mumbai, this happens. In our city, it happens a lot that एक builder होता है, एक छोटा सा कोई builder होता है, उसने एक building construct की, उस building में उसने 10 flat है, 10 flat उसने 40 लोगों को बेच दिया और वो 40 लोगों ने already 40 बैंक से लोन ले ली है और अब वो 40 के 40 फरार हो गए. That happens a lot. That happens a lot. I also happen to discuss this issue and this problem with the Mira Road EOW. There is an EOW of Mira Bhayandar Police Force also, and Miss Ashwini Patil is a DCP who heads that department. And they had raised this concern with me that how can this problem be solved? This problem can actually be solved with blockchain. If your land records, if your property ownership records, right now it is with the sub-registrar, which is with the state government. But if that was to go on blockchain, there is absolutely no possibility that one property could be sold to more than one person, ever. Plus the entire title, from how does the title flow, that entire title can also be verified on blockchain seamlessly and in open manner. Now, as things stand today we do not have that possibility. But I will give an example of another country where it has already been implemented. Let's take an example of UAE. The government of Dubai has decided that all that property records are going to be only and only on blockchain. It is an open source application. It can be verified by anyone and everyone who has access to it, and it can be verified in a manner where there is no there is no dispute of property ownership. Just imagine if India was to go and put all its entire country's land records on blockchain, there will never be any property dispute. Imagine the amount of cases which would not come in the courts after this is implemented. Imagine the potential of solving property disputes in less than an hour. Let's just decide the matter in an hour on basis of merit. So that can actually reduce the cost of litigation and the burden on judiciary if blockchain was to be implemented in land records. Similarly, if blockchain is implemented in banking, your transactions with overseas parties can be done in a fraction of time as compared to what it is taken right now. We will take this example of banking once again later on, because that is something that pertains to us as chartered accountants, somewhere from the accounting side, somewhere from the corporate side, and somewhere from the auditor's perspective also. Next slide, please. Yes. Now it is designed to store information in a manner which is in which you can practically cannot add, modify, or delete any data without being detected by other users of that. That is to say, एक छोटा सा उदाहरण आपको देता हूँ. That is to say that if you change any bit of information, even if you change one alphabet or if you change one number. For example, if I have borrowed 1 lakh rupees from Siddharth or Nishchit, and I make it as only 10,000 rupees. Okay, if I've just removed 1 zero from the transaction, मैंने एक zero को delete कर दिया वहां से. So even if I do that, all other users in the chain or in the blockchain or in the network or on the server will get notified that someone has changed something. Now it is that secure. Now if one person tries to change only one digit, alphabet or number, everyone gets notified in the system that there is there is something which has gone wrong in the system, which must be detected. And once if it is detected, it must be rectified. So it is practically, as I say, it is practically impossible to add, modify or delete data in a blockchain network. Next slide, please. It is a decentralized system of technology. Again, which is to say that, currently all our transactions, whether be it banking transactions, land record transactions, car ownership transactions, or even stock ownership transactions, your NSDL and CDSL. So all transactions, the environment in which we are operating right now are centralized, where there is some authority on top of everyone, which will decide where and which will regulate all those transactions. Now, blockchain is a decentralized model. Blockchain will replace all centralized systems with decentralized systems, and where the verification will come from the users of the blockchain itself. Now, how do we say that verification comes from the users of the blockchain? As I explained in the earlier slide, that if anyone tries to add, edit, modify, or delete even one number from a transaction, everyone gets notified. So if everyone gets notified, the verification will come from the users themselves. The users themselves will say कि भाई इसको rectify कर लो, आपने एक zero को cut कर दिया था. Instead of showing that I've borrowed 1 lakh rupees from Siddharth and Nishchit, I have shown it as 10,000 rupees. So now the other users will say that because you have changed the transaction, it is affecting all of us. So you please better go and rectify the error that you have made. So that is why it is said that verification comes from the users themselves. Next slide, please. And at the end of the day, blockchain technology is about recording data. Now that data could be any data. It could be monetary data. It could be banking data. It could be Aadhaar data also. Though UIDAI has clarified that we will never come on blockchain because of privacy concerns of the government, and they still feel that it is not a very secure system. That's a choice that the government has taken. However, if and only if blockchain data, if the Aadhaar data was to be put on a blockchain, believe me, most of the things would get streamlined without any government intervention. Because with our Aadhaar data, we have linked our bank account, our PAN card, our passport, our rent agreements, our property ownership data. We've also linked our LPG gas subsidy if someone is taking that, though a lot of people have voluntarily given up LPG gas subsidy. Apart from that, our car gets registered with our Aadhaar. So anything and everything gets registered with Aadhaar. So Aadhaar is like the social security number that is there in the US. And if this data was to be put on blockchain, I think transactions would be more transparent, transactions would be faster, and transactions would be verified in a much better manner. However, there are certain privacy concerns related to this, and hence UIDAI, in its own wisdom, has decided not to put that data, put that data in the blockchain environment. Next slide, please. So blockchain works on two principles. First is to gather and record data into blocks. वहीं से उसका नाम आता है, is block and chain. So first is to gather and record data into blocks, and then using cryptography, you will chain them into the network for security purposes. So that is how the word block and chain come together. So that is how the word blockchain has been derived. That is how the word blockchain has been derived. Yes. Now, let's take an example. Mr. Modi sells his car to Mr. Gandhi, and of course, there is no political reference whatsoever. And even if it is there, it is purely coincidental. So Mr. Modi sells his car to Mr. Gandhi, and this information is shared with all users in the blockchain. Next slide, please. So this is the recording part. The second part is that now, as you can see in your screen, there's transaction number 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So all of these are transactions which are getting recorded and they're building into blocks. जहां से उसका नाम आया है blockchain. So these transactions are recorded with all other transactions. And every transaction gets a timestamp. Timestamp is like an inward entry. अगर आप कभी भी इनकम टैक्स डिपार्टमेंट में जाते हो, कोई भी डिपार्टमेंट में जाते हो, so you have to fill in your name, your purpose of visit, and your mobile number in the register. It is exactly like that, and you have to put the time next to it. So the way we put an inward entry whenever we enter any government office or a building or a corporate office, similarly, whenever every transaction enters from anywhere, whenever a transaction enters into the blockchain, it gets a timestamp. Timestamp is like an inward entry. Once the block is full, so every block, let's assume, has a capacity of 100 transactions only. For example, let's correlate this with the filing system in our offices. आपके पास एक box file है, उस box file में से 100 transactions, 100 pages ही आ सकते हैं. It has a capacity of 100 pages only. So every time you put a page inside it, you will put an inward entry number, page number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and when are you filing it? Similarly, let's imagine that a block is like a file. वो file की capacity है 100 transactions. So once you've put 100 transactions on it, what will you do? आपका काम खत्म हो गया. You will put an index. You will file it. You will put it in your archive section, or you will put it in a cupboard where you may probably not need it in future. So you'll put it in some other godown or some other place in your office. Similarly, these blocks, once they are full, they also get a timestamp on it. They also get a unique reference number or a serial number or a file number, the way you would do filing in your office. And now this is put aside. Side पे रख दिया है, godown में रख दिया है, या ऊपर किसी cupboard में रख दिया है. So similarly, these will also be uploaded once the block is full. That entire block is also uploaded onto the server or the system or the network, which is called as a blockchain. Next slide, please. Now the completed block is sent across the network where it is linked to the chain. Other users, so for example, let's say you have one, we were talking about the RTO, which is a regional transport office, where recording of buying and selling of cars is done. So in Maharashtra, there are around 47 or 50 different RTOs having jurisdiction across the state of Maharashtra. So MH01, MH02, MH03, MH04, MH47, 48, similarly. So each regional office will have their own system. Each of them will be recording data at the same time, but all of them will be uploading the data onto one centralized server. Now, when that happens, what happens is that there is no duplication of data or anything, because each transaction is unique. Now, for example, I can sell my car only to Nishchit. Now, when Nishchit buys a car, he's buying a car only from me. So I cannot sell my car to two people. Ideally, I cannot, unless there is a fraud, someone who wants to commit. So ideally, if I'm selling a car to one person, in whichever RTO it has to get registered, it will get registered. Now, similarly, at the same time, there are 47 or 50 different RTO offices which are recording data. And all of them, once their blocks get full, or once their file gets full, they will be uploading it to the server, which is called as a chain. Imagine the blockchain is like a network or a server or a cloud, where data from all different offices, regional offices across Maharashtra will get recorded at one particular place. So the completed blocks are sent across to the network or the blockchain where it is linked. So now all of this data will get linked together. जितनी भी ऑफिसेस ने डेटा को अपलोड किया है, पूरा डेटा एक जगह पे जाके कोलेट होगा, या पूरा डेटा एक जगह पे जाके स्टोर हो जाएगा. Other users, as I explained, will also be uploading the blocks at the same time and with their timestamps. So everyone will get a unique timestamp. Now the chain, जो पूरा network है, chain is the network server or the cloud. Just for common parlance, I'm using these words which we use in a day-to-day life. So when the blocks are uploaded onto the chain, they are secured using something called as a hash function. अब hash function क्या होता है? Hash function means addition. Now, to explain hash function, and since we are chartered accountants, I will use accounting analogies to explain it in a better manner. let's compare the hash function with our accounts ledger. ठीक है, ledger के साथ compare करते हैं, which will be easier for us to understand. In our ledger, we have something called as a ledger name at the top. Then we have the period. Then we have something called as an opening balance. Now, opening balance in our case, in our example, is 100 rupees. Transact debits during the period are another 500. Credits during the period are another 1000. Okay, so 500, 100 is your opening debit balance, plus you have 500 of other debit balances. You have 1000 of your credit balances. So your closing balance will be credit 400. Now, your opening balance plus debits minus credit is equal to your closing balance. Hash function is exactly like that. Though it's a technical and it is a technical jargon, but I will try to break it down in our accounting analogy. Now, let's take how hash happens. There is transaction number 1. Transaction number 1 has opening balance 0. It has an addition of 10 rupees in it. So closing balance will become 10 rupees. Now transaction number 2, जब transaction number 2 आता है, so the closing balance of transaction number 1 becomes the opening balance of transaction number 2. In transaction number 2, there is an addition of another 20 rupees. So now the closing balance comes to 30 rupees of transaction number 2. Now, the closing balance of transaction number 2 becomes the opening balance of transaction number 3. So the opening balance of transaction number 3 is now 30 rupees. In 30 rupees, we add another 20 rupees. So now the closing balance is 50. Now for transaction number 4, opening balance is 50, and so on and so forth. It will keep on going on. Hash function does exactly that. Every transaction gets a unique hash number, which keeps on getting added to the next transaction. So transaction number 1, यहाँ पे आप अपने स्क्रीन पे देख सकते हो, there is transaction number 179, 180, 181, 182, और आप पीछे आप देखते जाओगे तो there are more transactions. Similarly, so every transaction will get an opening balance. There will be some addition during the period, and then there is a closing balance. Similarly, every transaction gets an opening hash. There is some addition to it, and then it gets a closing hash. That hash of the previous transaction gets embedded into the hash of the next transaction. So when the next block goes for a hash, a trace of the earlier block gets embedded onto it. Now this is a continuous process. ये होता ही रहता है. So just trying to explain a technical term using an accounting analogy. I hope all of you all have understood it. And now we move forward to the next slide. So next slide, please. As we've already discussed, this has a lot of potential. It can be used for multiple applications. And this is a paperless method. It is a paperless method which helps in establishing identity of the ownership. Next slide, please. Next. Using the technology is done. We go to the next slide. Yes. So blockchain for land records. We've done this example. You can proceed next, please. All right. Yeah. So over here, each parcel of land is uploaded on the blockchain. You can see there is a beautiful house, and each parcel of land for the entire country or for the entire state or for the entire city, each parcel of land is updated on the blockchain. Each building is giving a unique ID. Each flat in every building is also given a unique ID, and every sale will have to be registered on the blockchain, and every mortgage will also be registered on the same blockchain. मतलब कोई भी एक आदमी एक फ्लैट पे 2 लोन नहीं ले सकता by mortgaging the same property of the same value. Now, what you see at the bottom of your screen is like a digital ID. Like every house will get a digital ID, which is an alphanumeric code, which will identify that which property is it and who's the owner of this digital ID. So ultimately, blockchain understands only numbers and alphabets. So every digital ID is like a unique code, and you own that code. So as long as your name reflects as the owner in that code, you are the owner of the house, land, or that property. Next slide, please. So your house, once it gets converted into a digital code, the identity of the owner can be linked with the Aadhaar or PAN or any other verification method as may be necessary. And Aadhaar-based verification can be done at the time of every sale or at the time of every purchase. So that establishes the ownership of the property. Now the owner can sell this property or part of the property till when ownership can be verified. It removes future litigation, and a trail can also be maintained and verified online, which is completely verifiable and which is completely traceable to the actual owner. This will actually also help us in our country. You know, there are a lot of benami properties where the ultimate beneficial owner is someone else. So this will help us in identifying and removing those benami properties as well. Next slide, please. Another example I would like to give is that of the stock markets. In the financial markets, you know, trades get executed within a matter of seconds. You want to buy Reliance shares, just put 100 shares quantity, current market price, and click enter. आपको immediately Reliance के 100 shares मिल जाएंगे. You want to sell, click the sell button, you'll be able to sell. However, delivery and settlement takes up to T+2 is a settlement cycle right now, if I'm correct. T+2 is a settlement cycle. So delivery takes up to 2 days. Now all transactions get processed through the bank and depositories like the NSDL and the CDSL. Now this is a time-consuming process and adds a lot of cost also, right? Like every time you transact, the shares are going out of your demat, you have to pay some charge, right? 15 rupees, 20 rupees, 10 rupees, depending on whichever depository you're working with and whichever broker you're working with. Now blockchain can actually help us remove in totality all of these bottlenecks and all of these delays. You have money, you want to buy shares. You click buy and shares will come in your demat immediately. You want money, sell your shares, money will come in your account immediately. Blockchain can do this. You don't have to wait for T+1 or T+2 settlement. Henceforth, if stock markets get integrated with the banking blockchain. So इसके लिए हमें क्या चाहिए? We need 2 blockchains. One is called as a banking blockchain, in which there are all the banks. There are multiple banks, hundreds of banks that are there in India, all get registered on the blockchain. On the other side, we need all the stock exchanges and depositories to get registered with their respective blockchains in one larger blockchain. So the stock blockchain and the banking blockchain will integrate with each other and they will communicate in real-time basis. No T+2 settlement, T+0 seconds should be the settlement. That is the power of blockchain. It will take time, but sooner than later, it is going to happen. Next slide, please. So for stock markets, smart contract is a solution. And a smart contract, as the name says, it is smart. Pehle people were smart and phones were stupid. And now I think the other way around has also started happening, where phones are getting smarter, but people are not getting so smart. Next slide, please. So smart contract, as the name says, it is smart. काफी smart है, काफी चीजें एक साथ में कर सकता है. So a smart contract is a computer written code or an algorithm, as you may call it, which describes what has to be done. मतलब आप एक code है, एक algorithm है, एक written set of instructions है. You tell the computer what it has to do. It can connect to multiple blockchains. मतलब banking blockchain, land records blockchain, car का RTO blockchain, NSDL, CDSL का blockchain, land records blockchain, multiple blockchains it can connect. It can track multiple assets and it can also swap those assets with each other. आज की तारीख में, if you have shares and you want liquidity, you have to sell those shares. The money will come in a bank account, and once the money comes in a bank account, you'll pay taxes if there's any capital gain, and then you'll buy a house, buy a car, or do whatever you want to. So let's say you've sold 1,000 shares of Reliance, okay, and then you want to buy a car. Actually, if you sell 1,000 shares of Reliance, you can actually buy a property also. So let's say you've sold 1,000 shares of Reliance, and now the money will come in your account T+2 settlement, and then you will go and you'll buy some house, you'll make the payment to the builder, or you'll buy it in secondary sale, and then you will go to the registration office, put a thumb impression, they will click a photo, and you'll sign the papers. Now that is a time-consuming process. Though it's quick in India, but still it's a time-consuming process. Blockchain, you sell shares, buy house immediately, instantaneously. That is possible because a smart contract will connect your banking blockchain, your NSDL, CDSL, and the stock exchange blockchain. It will connect you with the property and the land records blockchain, and it can execute all the transactions in a matter of seconds, where ownership is again verified, where ownership is established, where there is security. So you need not waste time selling shares, wait for the settlement to happen for 2 days, then go to the registrar's office, physically get it registered, put your name on the property papers, put your thumb impression. वो सब करने की जरूरत नहीं है. Blockchain can eliminate all of that with a smart contract. That's a very simple solution. It's just an algorithm. It's a code or a set of instructions given to the computer as to what is it supposed to do. ये तो मैंने एक छोटा सा एग्जांपल आपको इंडिया अंदर ट्रांजैक्शन करने का बताया, which blockchain can do. Let's think a little further and beyond now. I have 1,000 shares of Reliance and I want to buy a property in London. Okay, let's imagine I don't have 1,000 shares, so let's assume I want to sell 1,000 shares of Reliance and I want to buy a property in London. Now, is that possible? Yes, it is possible. उसके लिए क्या करना है? India should have its own blockchain, which is the banking blockchain, the stock exchange blockchain, and other multiple blockchains. These blockchains will have to connect with the property records blockchain of the UK. So once that happens, the Indian blockchain connects with that and directly transfers money to the account or to the beneficiary in UK, and in return, I get the property registered in my name, sitting over here in India. That is the power of blockchain. Sell a property in London, buy shares in India. That is possible. Sell a property in London, buy a property in Mumbai. That is also possible. So the possibilities are infinite. The possibilities are infinite. See, because this is a technology, we will have to assume and we will have to imagine a lot of things. Because how do you explain technology virtually? And that too when all of us are not from a tech background. So we will have to imagine the possibilities, and these will be made possible, not by us. It is not the job of chartered accountants to develop this technology. It is a job of the engineers to develop it. But these are the possibilities which we as chartered accountants can advise to our clients, we can advise to our corporates, we can advise to our organizations, and we can implement them in our businesses as well. Someone very rightly put up a question that will blockchain move ERPs or not? Yes, it will move ERPs because supply chain management, accounting, ownership, manufacturing processes, everything, transportation can come on blockchain. Insurance will come on blockchain sooner than later. So yes, the answer is it will affect ERPs to quite a great extent. How that will happen is in a blockchain environment. Now, this is a thing that we actually, as chartered accountants, must ponder over. A lot of chartered accountants, we as a fraternity, are involved in audit. Now, in a blockchain environment, as I said, you cannot add, edit, delete, or modify any data. Not even 1 0 can be removed from your transaction. So in such a case, when debit is always equal to credit, okay, when debit is always equal to credit, will we need audits in future? Okay, we need to think over it. Will we need audits? Will bank audits be required? Wouldn't that be automated? RPA, robotic process automation. Will artificial intelligence not take over the process of auditors? I do not have an answer to it. I'm just putting up a thought for us to ponder as to in which direction do we as chartered accountants, as a fraternity, want to proceed. Next slide, please. Next slide. We've discussed the stock market. So this is how an execution, this is a pictorial diagram of, or a pictorial representation of how a smart contract would look. On the left side, you have your stock exchange blockchain, and on the right, you have your banking blockchain. There are multiple banks. There are multiple brokers and stock exchanges also. To be honest, there are 2 which are largely traded, but there are other smaller stock exchanges also. And each of them would do their own transactions, and then there would be limited rights access to transfer, to integrate with each other's blockchains in such a manner that transactions can be done. So this is just a pictorial representation of how blockchains would integrate with each other. Next slide, please. So as I said earlier also that, UIDAI has said it that Aadhaar data will not come on blockchain, but it is a very good example because, as I said, most of the things in India get linked with your Aadhaar. And more than anything else, Aadhaar also has a biometric information, which is your retina scan plus your fingerprint. So Aadhaar is actually a very good example of what an ideal blockchain should look like. We have done it for almost 1.2 billion people. मतलब 120 करोड़ लोगों का data government के पास है, which no other country has. Okay, which no other country has, and we can also use this as a public diplomacy public diplomacy initiative, for smaller countries like Iceland, where there are only like 3 lakh people, which has a very small population. We have like 3 lakh people at Dadar station at 9 a.m. in the morning. We can easily manage it for an entire country. The government of India says that हम आप सब लोगों का data collect करेंगे in a manner which is cost effective and efficient, and we will collate all the data. And we can put it up on blockchain or on any other network. Next slide, please. Are we ready for blockchain? Are we ready for blockchain is what we need to think. Will there be technological hurdles, which is upgradation of hardware and software? Certainly, certainly. With this existing set of hardware, probably blockchain computing will not be able to cope up. We will need better hardware, and we will also need better software, which is a cost to companies. So which companies will invest in it? You and I are not going to invest in hardware and software upgradation, at least not right now. So which companies would invest in the hardware and software? I think the clear answer to that, in my personal opinion, is that it would be companies which stand to get the most out of it. When we talk about supply chain management on blockchain, I think companies like Amazon could invest in it because they're more they are primarily into delivering of goods across the country and also across the world for that matter. Will governments accept it? The Indian government has said on the floor of the House, late Sri Arun Jaitley ji, the then Finance Minister of India, on the floor of the House at the end of his budget speech, he mentioned in 2016 or 17, if I'm correct, he mentioned that India does not recognize cryptocurrency as a legal tender, but India will explore the benefits of blockchain as a technology. So as far as blockchain is concerned, the government has accepted it. There are tenders floated for developing the government of India's blockchain. I know certain people who are also developing it for the government of India. And as far as cryptocurrency is concerned, I think the government is still not decided what they want to do, whether they should ban it or not ban it, whether they want to ban it or they don't want to ban it. There is a lot of unclarity right now. Probably in the coming budget, we are expecting that there should be recognition of cryptocurrencies as an asset class, but with a lot of risk involved with it. So whether governments will accept it, all governments will accept technology. There's no problem with the technology. The technology is good, but the use of that technology is something that governments are worried about because money can flow in and flow out with anonymity. मतलब आपने किससे पैसा लिया और आपने किसको पैसा दिया वो गवर्नमेंट को पता नहीं चल सकता आज की तारीख में. Will that create unemployment? I think that's a larger social issue that we need to worry about because blockchain will create unemployment by the millions, because something which is a very recurring process will be automated with blockchain. So you will not need people to do those things or those activities or those processes once blockchain is implemented. So how do we tackle this issue? Upskill yourselves. Upskill yourselves. Understand what is blockchain, understand what is the potential of blockchain, understand how your role as chartered accountants would change under the blockchain environment. I think we only need to understand how will our role change. It is not, as I said, it is not our prerogative to develop the technology, but it is definitely our prerogative to understand how do we adopt this technology, how do we change with the time, and how do we upskill ourselves with the technology. Can it compete with institutions? At a lot of times people said that who's the biggest competitor of Air India and Vistara in India? So someone said that, it is Zoom. It is not Indigo or SpiceJet. It is Zoom. Zoom has eliminated the need to travel. So business travel, statistics say business travel has reduced by 70% over the last 1 year, primarily due to COVID. But even if you were to remove that factor of COVID, I think business travel will get affected by at least 30 to 40%, even in the years to come. So can it compete with large institutions like MasterCard and Visa card? Visa and Amex, puri zindagi transaction fees mein hi kamate rahe. Okay, you want to buy something, you will swipe it through MasterCard or Visa. You want to subscribe to some foreign website or a magazine, you will have to swipe your card through your credit card, for which you will get charged. Plus the person to whom the payment is made, he will also get charged, or that company will also get charged. So can blockchain technology compete with such large organizations? Now, is there any legal recognition or standardization? As of now, no, there is no legal recognition, nor is there any standardization in India. And is it a security concern or a security issue, or is hacking possible? So, as I say, nothing is unhackable. There have been instances of blockchain robberies or cryptocurrency hacks where millions and millions of dollars worth of cryptocurrency was swindled out of accounts overnight, and people were left with nothing. And finally, is it just a currency or a business? So blockchain is much, much, much more than just a currency. It is a business, it is an economy, and it is an environment where there are multiple things that are happening. They're being developed. Not everything is ready. But as far as banking and blockchain is concerned, let me tell you this one very interesting fact. Since we are chartered accountants, we know that if you want to send money out of India to any company abroad, or to any organization or family member abroad, there are multiple compliances which we have to do. Let's take for an example, you want to send $1 lakh from India to USA. $1 lakh for buying a house or for child's education or anything. So $1 lakh अगर आपको भेजना है तो सबसे पहले आपको क्या करना है? Someone has, I'll just interrupt over here. I'll come to the example of sending $1 lakh later on. Very interesting question has come up. Can you please explain how hacking happens in blockchain? I think if I would know how that happened, I wouldn't be here right now. I would rather be hacking someone or the other to make a fortune for myself. So the answer to that is I do not know how hacking happens in a blockchain environment. But it does happen. It does happen. There are instances you can read about it online, but I don't think it would be publicly available in the public domain as to how does hacking happen in a blockchain. So I'm not aware as to how does that happen. But yeah, in case if any of you all come to know and would like to share that secret with me, please take my details at the end of this presentation and let me know. I would be really obliged to you for that. Not that I intend to hack or anything, but yeah, that would be interesting to know. Yeah. So coming back to the example of sending $1 lakh from India to USA. First and foremost, you have to go to the bank. Once you go to the bank, you have to fill something called as Form A1 of the RBI. Once you fill Form A1, in certain cases, for certain transactions, you need a certificate from a chartered accountant stating that tax is not required to be deducted in this transaction. You fill Form 15CA and CB, as the case may be. And then you would go ahead and you will remit money through the SWIFT network, international wire transfers. We use a network called as a SWIFT network. And depending on the amount of transaction and the country to which you're sending and the intermediary bank which is facilitating this transaction, it takes T+2 for settlement, minimum T+2 plus for settlement. And there are certain charges which are known as the network charges or the SWIFT charges. So let's take an example. You would be charged $20. एक छोटा सा amount लेते हैं. $20 per transaction is hypothetically in our example. Now, $20 and it takes almost 4 to 5 calendar days because of Saturday, Sunday, certain networks don't work, and because of it, the beneficiary doesn't get money. So if you send money on a Thursday, it will not reflect in the beneficiary's account before Monday or Tuesday. Now compare that with blockchain, and one bank has already done it. The second largest bank of Saudi Arabia has sent its money from its branch in Saudi Arabia to its own branch in Jordan in less than 2 minutes. And at a cost of less than 2 cents. 2 cents. So compare T+2 with 2 minutes and compare $20 as a transaction cost with only 2 cents. So that is the power of blockchain, and it was done in a verified manner. They had used something called as a Ripple. Ripple करके एक organization है जिसकी खुद की cryptocurrency भी है. It is called as XRP, and Ripple also is an organization which facilitates payment transfers from one country to another country. It's a corporation. It's a company. And in order to pay for their services, you have to pay them in their cryptocurrency. That is why the price of Ripple keeps on fluctuating depending on the demand and supply of XRP. Now, the next slide, please. So now we move to the second part of the presentation. We are just in time. In 1 hour, I've covered what is blockchain. I do not remember the name of the bank. It's the second largest bank. You can just search for it. I do not genuinely, I do not recollect the name of the bank. It's the second largest bank of Saudi Arabia, which had transferred money. Why is it that we do not see any role of chartered accountants in developing a technology using blockchain as a platform? maybe something related to accounts, audit, legal. Maybe if we collaborate with tech experts, yeah, I think that's a very good option. I do not know what's your name, but thanks for bringing out this, bringing up this question. The interesting part I'll tell you over here, the person that I told you that I know who's developing a blockchain for the government of India, who has won the tender, is a chartered accountant. He's a chartered accountant. He sits in Mulund. He has a huge office in Mulund, and I was privileged to share the stage with him once. And that's when I came to know that chartered accountants are in technology and they are developing blockchain for the government of India. He's won the tender. So that is a chartered accountant who is doing this. So yes, if more and more chartered accountants wish to come in it and wish to collaborate with multiple people, yes, that is a possibility. As far as accounts, as far as audit, legal, regulatory compliances are concerned, if they were to be brought on blockchain, I think that's where chartered accountants will play a major role, because you will need someone on both sides of the table, right? One who knows the technology and one who knows what is blockchain. So I think chartered accountants can play a role in that as well. So yes, if chartered accountants can collaborate with tech companies, I think that would bring a big revolution. So at present, when we come to cryptocurrencies, this is the second part of the presentation. And when we come to cryptocurrencies, there are more than 8,000. I stand corrected. The figure of 6,000 was more than 2 months old. In the last 2 months, there are more than 2,000 cryptocurrencies which have come up. So at present, there are more than 8,000 cryptocurrencies in the market. However, not all of them are very genuine. Some of them are fake. Some of them are scams, or as the case may be. But the best known cryptocurrencies right now in the market are Bitcoin, Ethereum, Ripple, Dogecoin, Shiba Coin, Shiba Inu. And some people claim that they're Doge father, like Elon Musk says that time and again. At times, the market cap of these cryptocurrencies cumulatively is more than $2 trillion, which is much more than the total forex reserves of France, Germany, and Italy, which are considered to be developed nations. So something which is virtual, something which is in the air. Can we identify fake currencies? I'll come to that. Something that is in the air, something that is digital, something that is not tangible, has got value, which is much, much, much more than something that is tangible. And these are the times that we live in. So we better adopt it. We better understand it, and we decide for ourselves whether we want to put money in cryptos or whether we want to stay away from cryptos. It's a personal choice. And till when it's not legal, till when it's not illegal, I think it's a personal choice. Once it's illegal, then it is mandatory not to hold it. So that's a discussion for another day. One more question. I would love it if you all would put your names instead of putting anonymous comments. I would really appreciate if you put your names also. So will blockchain come for professionals like us also? Yes, it will come. Blockchain for professionals is the next big thing. And yes, so how do we identify fake currencies is another question. I'll come to it. So these are some of the currencies which are well known, and I've tried to put them over here. In no way is this a recommendation for investment, and in no way so whatever I'm speaking is in my personal capacity and does not reflect the view of ICAI, its branches, its regions, its study circles, or its or any of its departments. So whatever I'm saying it's absolutely in my personal capacity and does not represent any government view, any ICAI view, or any of my firms that I'm associated with. It does not represent any of those views. So with this, I think it was necessary to give a legal disclaimer because now we're talking about cryptocurrencies. So next slide, please. Can you start your own cryptocurrency? Whether the answer is yes or no, this is no way and offer to start your own cryptocurrency. Can you start your own cryptocurrency? The answer is yes. Technically, the answer is yes. Should you start or should you not start? That is for each one to decide. But what I can explain is the concept. How do you start your own cryptocurrency? Can you start your own cryptocurrency? Yes. How do you start your own cryptocurrency? Let's say Mira Road CP Study Circle and its members डिसाइड के चलो हम कुछ अलग से वेंचर करते हैं, हमें खुद की करेंसी चालू करनी है. मतलब कल से मैं खुद RBI, I decide how much will be the circulation of my currency. I decide what will be the price of my currency? You know, this reminds me of a very famous dialogue from one of the web series. Okay, Apani God. You know, so if government regulates this business, then is this solution viable? So let me. I will come to that point as well. So firstly, you need to mine your tokens. First, in order to start your cryptocurrency, you need to have a story. Okay, and if that story is believable, people will buy. If it's not believable, people will not buy. So there's a lot of marketing activities which have to be done. You need to also get associated with a lot of technical people. You need to hire the best of the best influencers, and of course, everything can be bought. Uh, I don't think it's an open secret. Sorry, I think it's an open secret, and it's no more a secret that media can be bought, right? Media can be bought. You can get good articles in your favor supporting your cryptocurrency also in today's day and age. It is very much possible. So first you need to decide what will be the quantity that is called as mining. जिस तरह से आप gold mining करते हो, तो हम क्या करते हैं? एक there is a gold mine. You will estimate कि इसमें इतना gold निकल सकता है. You will bid for it. So you're not manufacturing anything, right? You cannot manufacture gold. You will mine the gold. You will mine diamonds. You will mine copper, bauxite, aluminum, and all other metals. Similarly, you can. How will you make your cryptocurrency? How will you issue tokens? So that is called as the process is called as mining. Mining means generation. ये आपका है नहीं. Gold is not yours. You have the rights to mine in that gold mine. That is how the gold becomes yours. Similarly, you decide that my cryptocurrency will have a circulation of 100 billion coins. इसको coins कहते हैं. जैसे Bitcoin का एक coin होता है, which is valued at somewhere around 30 lakh rupees today. Until some time ago, it was 55 or 60 lakh rupees also, but today it's become 30 lakh rupees. तो अगर आपने 2 महीने, अगर समझो आपने 4 महीने पहले लिया होता एक बिटकॉइन, तो वो 60 लाख का था, आज 30 लाख का है. Now, once you've mined it, after that, you have to issue something called as a white paper. You can write whatever you want to in your white paper. And white paper is basically your intention as to what do you plan to do with your cryptocurrency. It is like the memorandum. Let's compare it with our legal framework of companies in India. So mining would be like, what is the total authorized capital? I will issue only 100 billion coins. That is like authorized capital. Whatever gets subscribed is like your paid up capital. मतलब इतना paid up है. Now, once it is ready, people may want to trade it. So people will start buying the cryptocurrency in the market. There will be liquidity pools which will help in facilitating those transactions. There are certain so-called self-assumed exchanges who call themselves as exchange. मतलब, I will not name any. So all of these exchanges are not recognized by SEBI. All of these exchanges are self-regulated. All of these exchanges are private organizations. They are private companies who are operating under the disguise of being calling themselves as exchanges. Government has not recognized any of them as exchanges till now, and so you will go on various exchanges. बहुत सारे हैं, मतलब 3-4 नाम शायद आपको भी पता ही होंगे, I'm assuming, but I will not name any of them. So they are self-assumed, self-regulated, and so-called exchanges which will facilitate trading of that cryptocurrency on their platform. How secure are they? It is still a doubt. And a lot of times these exchanges go down. There is downtime. Whether privacy will be maintained on these so-called self-regulated and assumed and exchanges, privacy is not maintained because Government of India has asked all the exchanges. Government of India has has asked all exchanges to do mandatory KYC of all their account holders. So अगर किसी को लगता है कि वो किसी क्रिप्टो में पैसा लेके ट्रेडिंग करेंगे and they will not report it to anyone, that may not be possible. What are the charges? The charges are not transparent on these exchanges. It can be as less as 0.5% and it could also be as high as 8%. There are certain exchanges operating in India illegally, of course, who charge as high as 5%, 6%, 8%. So imagine this is the kind of brokerage that you pay on exchanges which are again unregulated, illegal, who charge up to 8%. When we come to the legal status in India, I think it is a collective failure. Okay, let me be very honest and direct. It is a collective failure. Collective failure of whom? The RBI primarily. Second, SEBI, and third, Ministry of Finance. Why? I have my justifications, and मैं बोलता हूँ तो एकदम direct बोलता हूँ और एकदम openly बोलता हूँ. cryptocurrencies got traction in the year 2016. $800 से $20,000 तक का भाव गया था एक साल के अंदर, and that's when people started hearing the word Bitcoin for the first time. मतलब it was very largely discussed that Bitcoin is increasing from $800 to $20,000. At that point of time, a lot of exchanges sprouted up, so-called self-assumed exchanges sprouted up, and they said that we will help you buy. People bought. A lot of them also lost money. Some make money. Generally a lot of people lost money. एक आदमी जब पैसा कमाता है वो 1000 लोगों को बोलता है, लेकिन जब 1000 लोग पैसा घुमाते हैं तो एक आदमी को भी नहीं बोलते कि मैंने पैसा घुमाया. So you will generally hear only success stories about people making money, but you will never hear stories of people who've made losses. Now people started buying. The government of India, so first and foremost, the RBI came out and said we do not consider cryptocurrency as a legal tender. Okay, fair enough. Second clarification. We are not very comfortable. RBI is not comfortable with cryptocurrencies being used as a legal tender. Now, what does not comfortable mean? You may not be comfortable, but I am comfortable. Is that legal or illegal? So again, the industry represented and asked whether it is legal or illegal. RBI said we are not very comfortable with cryptocurrencies. Then the question came to SEBI that there are exchanges which are calling themselves as exchanges. So are you regulating them? SEBI said that cryptocurrency is not an asset class. It is not a security. So if it is not a security, it does not come under the purview of SEBI. So SEBI ने भी हाथ धो दिया. RBI ने बोला we are not comfortable. SEBI ने कहा कि they are not securities. Then everyone looked up to the finance ministry and thought that the finance ministry in its own wisdom should tell whether it is an asset class, whether it is a currency, or whether it is an investment, or what is it. So the honorable finance minister on the floor of the house, late Shri Arun Jaitley ji, said that we do not consider this as a legal tender, but we will explore the advantages and benefits of cryptocurrency, of blockchain technology. So as I said, it is a collective failure. All of them have mutually decided not to decide anything about cryptocurrencies. So this is about the legal status in India. If anyone was to ask me that what is the legal status of cryptocurrencies in India, I will say it is not illegal as on date. As on date. I've just got a question. Yes, so as on date, one of the participants has asked that do we have to route it through banks in India? So as on date, the rule is this: yes, you have to route it through banks. So how do you buy cryptocurrencies? आज की तारीख में आप जाइए, कोई भी prominent website, बड़े-बड़े hoardings लगे होते हैं. कई लोग बोलते हैं कि future यही है. कई लोग बोलते हैं ये आसान है. कई लोग बोलते हैं cryptocurrency सही है. Just like mutual fund सही है. It's a borrowed tagline. So of course, in their own wisdom, as long as it is not illegal, they're free to do whatever they want to in the country. I have no objection with that. But we need to understand. We are chartered accountants. Let's understand what is the intrinsic value of cryptocurrencies. I think the summation at the end of the day will be zero. What is the asset backing of any cryptocurrency? Any cryptocurrency in India? I think that the answer to that is also zero. What is the cumulative value of the entire cryptocurrency? Ek currency, there are 8,000 such currencies. What is the cumulative value? There is a market value, but what is the book value of it? It is still zero. So I think it's if a person should invest and wants to invest, you should invest only the amount that you can afford to lose, is generally what I tell people. But please don't take that as financial advice from me. That's a legal disclaimer. So India was a collective failure as far as cryptocurrency is concerned, and there is a standing committee of finance on digital currencies and cryptocurrencies. The standing committee had asked for public comments. I, in my own personal capacity, also sent my comments over there to the secretariat of the standing committee. Of course, there was neither acknowledgement nor any response. So I don't know what was the outcome of it. But they were supposed to come out and table a bill in the winter session of the parliament. The government of India decided in its own wisdom that they will table a bill in the winter session. The winter session started and concluded, but there was no bill which was tabled. So now we are hoping that there will be a bill being tabled either in the next session, or there would be some some clarity given in the financial budget, which is just around the corner. Now, when we talk about the global outlook, I think China has banned its citizens from buying, selling, trading, holding, facilitating, mining, or otherwise getting associated with any cryptocurrency. So as far as China is concerned, they have restricted its citizens from dealing in cryptocurrencies. In EU, there are certain countries, Scandinavian countries, where there is something called as Bitcoin ATM machine. Means you take euros, deposit dollars in euros in the machine, and आपको Bitcoin मिल जाएगा. You're in need of money, go to that Bitcoin ATM machine, press sell over there, and you can withdraw money from that ATM machine. It is that easy in certain European countries. As far as the Gulf is concerned, it is a mixed bag over there. To some extent, it is allowed. To some extent, it is not allowed. There are certain caps on the value of transaction. Then there are certain restrictions also which have been put in place. Is there misuse of technology? As on date, yes, there is a lot of misuse of technology. Almost, it is said that as far as there was a survey which was done by the Interpol. And through its regional headquarters in Singapore, there was a survey done by the Interpol. And they released a statistic which was quite alarming. It says that 83% of all cryptocurrencies which were issued on basis of some white paper or some business premise or on basis of some vision were found to be fraudulent at the end of 6 months after their launch. So this is the alarming figure. So there are multiple cryptocurrencies and proposals which we as chartered accountants will get. Some of them will also offer you remunerative commission. That, you know, if you ask your clients to buy, we will give you 20% commission, 10% commission, 15% commission. I have got a lot of such proposals, but I just discard them outrightly. I do not believe in these kind of proposals. So as far as misuse of technology is concerned, 83% of cryptocurrencies were found to be fraudulent after 6 months of their launch. Second statistic says, which is even further more alarming, that 92% of all illegal transactions which happen on the dark web are found to be done in cryptocurrency. Dark web pe hota kya hai? Drug trafficking, human trafficking, child trafficking, blood money, arms and ammunition, hacking, malware attacks, DDoS attacks, ransomware. All that happens on the dark web. I will just take 1 minute detour from cryptocurrency to dark web because they're interlinked, right? If 92% of dark web transactions are found, 92% of illegal transactions are found to be happening in cryptocurrency. So I will take a detour to what is the dark web. Put all transactions that we do, all transactions that are done through formal channels and formal economies, put that at one place. Put the entire internet as we know, at one place. That is just 5% of what the dark web is. What is the dark web? Dark web is a place where all illegal and all illicit activities take place. It is like the place where all the hackers of the world, all the fraudsters of the world gather. They do business over there. They sell credit card details. They sell fraudulent details. They sell people who have been honey trapped. They sell details about those people. Discussions of child trafficking happen over there. People are bought and sold. Humans are bought and sold over there. Drugs are bought and sold over there. That is the dark web. In one of my earlier sessions, someone even asked that how can we go to the dark web? You know, I'm sure none of us intend to go there, but having knowledge is important. So in order to access dark web, we cannot access dark web through Google Chrome or any normal browser that you use. Google Chrome, Internet Explorer, Microsoft Edge, we cannot use that. There is a special browser called as a Tor, T-O-R. Tor say you have to use a search engine called as DuckDuckGo. And by using the Tor browser and the DuckDuckGo search engine, people can search for the dark web. From there, you can access the dark web. My only suggestion to you is, and please treat this as some important advice. If you do not know how to get out of it, don't get into it. Okay, because once you go in and you've divulged any detail about yourself, your email ID, phone number, credit card, debit card, bank account, your home address, or anything, If you do not know how to get out of it, do not get into it. It's as simple as that. So this was about the dark web, and that is why I say misuse of technology is happening more than the use of technology. Next slide, please. Practical issues in trading. In case if someone is trading in cryptocurrencies, or if some of our clients or friends, relatives, associates, or family are trading in cryptocurrencies, so what are the points that we should consider before trading in cryptocurrencies? First and foremost, charges are not transparent. Secondly, privacy is not maintained. Cryptocurrency, generally people say कि हमें cryptocurrency में पैसे इसलिए डालना है because we want to remain anonymous. If you're using an Indian exchange, you will not remain anonymous. As I've already explained, the government has mandated all cryptocurrency exchanges, at least the so-called self-assumed, self-regulated exchanges, to do mandatory KYC or block the accounts. There are limited options to swap. Matlab, you can buy the popular cryptocurrencies, but if you want to take other smaller known cryptocurrencies, there are no options to swap. So then you have to use another third-party service where you send your Bitcoin and then they give you smaller coins, or they're called as altcoins. Payout is in a specific currency only in India. You cannot take a payout in any other currency. It must be routed through bank only. As on date, if you want to buy or sell, officially it must be routed through bank only. This is what is generally said. But then there are unofficial ways. There are people who are exploring. I don't know those people, but yes, there are people who do those unofficial and illegal activities also. For example, just to share a perspective, I've heard of certain instances where people have bought a cryptocurrency by paying money in Angadya. Now, I need not elaborate what is Angadya and what was the mode of transaction, but I've heard. Bitcoin ATMs, a lot of people also try to encash their cryptocurrency by traveling to Scandinavian countries and withdrawing money through those Bitcoin ATMs. I've heard of such instances also. There are also limited options to load money. For example, you cannot swipe each and every debit card or credit card to load money. Different exchanges have different rules. Some may be in some you have to route it through UPI, in some you have to route it through net banking. So there are limited options to load money. And then we come to our domain, which is about notice from the IT department. Yes, most of the people who've dealt in cryptocurrencies in the last 2 years end up getting notices from the IT department under Section 142, where they ask for the source of funds, the total value of transactions, each and every transaction, the total amount of gain that they've realized from by trading in cryptocurrencies. Well, some of my clients have received annexures of 2 pages. 2-page ka annexure. Who told you to buy? Who told you to sell? How did you buy? How did you sell? Where did you get the funds? Have you paid advance tax or not? And so on and so forth. And finally, we come to the taxability of cryptocurrency. So as of now, a lot of people who are dealing in cryptocurrencies and who had bought at a very early stage. And yes, let me assure you, there are a lot of chartered accountants who had bought cryptocurrency very early. As in, I also know someone who held a very high position, or rather still holds a very high position at the institute, had bought cryptocurrencies at the rate of less than $1,000 per Bitcoin. Okay. And imagine in case if the person is still holding, I don't know, and I don't even have the authority to ask the gentleman. But in case if the person is still holding it, it had gone up to $60,000. So that's the, so yes, there are chartered accountants who have bought it. Very few, but yeah, there were some who had bought it at a very early stage. So people contend that should we treat it as an asset? And if it is an asset, should we treat it as a long-term asset now? They had bought it in 2016, 17, and if they're selling in 2021 or 22, should that be treated as a long-term capital asset? So as on today, and as on right now, the finance ministry has not clarified if it is a separate asset class. So in my personal opinion, if it is not an asset class, if it is not recognized as an asset class, it could be treated purely as speculative income. It could also be treated as profits and gains from business and profession, and whatever is the gain should be taxed at the slab rate and not at the not at the rate at which capital gains are to be taxed. However, for all practical purposes and all for tax planning purposes, a lot of people offer it as long-term capital gains or as short-term capital gains, and they pay tax accordingly. So my suggestion is that till when there is no clarity, it should be offered as PGBP. Till when there is no clarity, because in India it is not recognized as an asset class. Now let us also understand, when a person buys cryptocurrency, is it for an immediate gain or is it an investment activity? So when we are to talk on the other side, when we are not talking from a PGBP perspective, but when we are arguing from an LTCG or an STCG perspective, if we have to argue, what should be our argument? Let's come to that point. If we have to argue in favor of revenue, then I think it's PGBP. And if you have to argue in favor of the assessee, it is LTCG or capital gains. So if the matter has to be argued from the assessee side that it is LTCG or STCG, I think the argument would be that when a person bought this as an investment, the money was invested not to get an immediate gain. All right. So if the intent was not to get an immediate gain, it cannot be deemed to be, or it cannot be assumed that it is a business. Generally, when you do business, it is for an immediate gain or a gain spread over a period of time which is predetermined. For example, if you file an ITR for someone, or if you are working for some company, or if you enter into business contract to supply some services or some goods, today, you know you're going to earn an X amount of money today. But when you have bought cryptocurrencies, there is no clear demarcation, or it is not determined whether you're going to make profit or whether you're going to make loss. So these are the arguments from the capital gains perspective. So when it is not determined and you do not know when are you going to sell it also. So you do know. So there is uncertainty of time, and then there is uncertainty of amount. Now, where do you find such things? Generally in India today, it is in shares and stocks and mutual funds. So when you buy stocks and mutual funds, today you do not know what is the price going to be tomorrow. You do not know what is the price going to be after a period of time. So the characteristics which are available on record today for investment and also the intention of the person putting money could be similar to that of a person putting the money in stocks and mutual funds or any other debt asset which is categorized as an asset. So taking a liberal view and deriving the analogy from other similar transactions of a similar nature in a recognized asset class, if it was to be termed as a capital gain transaction, this must also be termed as a capital gain transaction. Now, this is the argument from the assessee side. However, if you do not wish to go for litigation, show it as PGBP. And in case if you wish to go for further litigation or further arguments, you can definitely show it as capital gains and fight the matter if the department raises the concern at a later date. Next slide, please. And as I said, please do not take this as professional advice or financial advice. Now, a lot of people ask that कौन सी cryptocurrency में पैसा डालना चाहिए? Where should we invest money in cryptocurrency? So my only suggestion is that the word investment may not necessarily be true for this. Treat it as you're parking money. Don't use the word invest. And I also generally take an objection when people call it cryptocurrency, because in my personal opinion, the cryptos do not possess the features of a currency. Currency क्या होती है? Let's understand. I'm sure all of us are aware, and all of us also agree that maximum global trade happens in the US dollar. Now, why does that happen in the US dollar? Why is it treated as a base currency for all international transactions, or not all, but most international transactions? Because as a currency, it is a stable currency. It is stable. It is easily liquid. It is government backed. It has a backing of the Federal Reserve or the government of the USA. And people know that when they have $1 in the hand today, it will remain $1 tomorrow. The value will not change. Now, let's try to compare these features of a stable currency with cryptocurrency. Is it stable? No. because the price fluctuates depending on whatever Elon Musk is tweeting. कभी Elon Musk को सुबह उठ के उसको मूड हुआ that I will accept Bitcoin for selling my Tesla cars. Okay, the price of Bitcoin will increase from say $30,000 to $50,000. If Elon Musk one fine day wakes up and tweets that we will no longer sell our cars for Bitcoins, the prices will crash from that $50,000 back to $30,000. So there is no stability. So the first feature is not available in cryptocurrency. Second is it liquid? Not necessarily. Not necessarily. If you have bought smaller coins, lesser known coins, उसमें liquidity नहीं होती है. So you may be stuck. You may want to sell, but there is no buyer. You may want to buy, but there is no sell. Third point, is it regulated? No, none of the cryptocurrencies are regulated by any authority or any government or any corporation or any person. Mota moti, matlab sharing a very macro perspective. There are only 15 or 20 individuals or corporations which are controlling the entire crypto world at the top of the pyramid. There are only 15 or 20. That gets amplified. So whatever they say gets amplified by the people in the second layer who are also again rich, wealthy. That then gets amplified by people who are in the third layer. That then gets amplified by people in the fourth and the fifth layer. And then at the bottom of the pyramid, you have people who consider this to be an investment opportunity. I personally, in my personal opinion, think this is, since it is managed at the top by 15 or 20 people only, I think it is more of a gamble than an investment. So as I said, the features of a currency are not visible in any cryptos. So firstly, I think there should be a correction at a global level in naming it. It is not a currency, it is crypto. Because currency की कोई characteristics इसमें है ही नहीं. Now, but still, if people say that we want to invest or we want to park money in cryptocurrency, I get this. I get this question asked a lot of times. Then, so I never give any recommendations for any cryptocurrency because I personally do not know what is going on in each of those currencies. So I will refrain from giving any recommendation for any cryptocurrency, but I will teach you what you should see before putting money in any cryptocurrency. As it is said that if you give a bread to a person once, he eats that bread for once. But if you teach him how to make the bread, he will be self-sustainable and will keep on making his own bread. So if you want to understand in which crypto should you park your money, first you need to understand is that what is the total mined quantity. Mined quantity is like the authorized share capital of the company. Uske total kitna coin hoga? How many coins will they issue? What is the maximum quantity that can be issued or that can be mined? Who are the promoters? At a lot of time, since there are a lot of private cryptocurrencies, at a lot of times people should know that who's promoting it, directly or indirectly. For example, for some, there are people at the top of the pyramid. I told you those 15, 20 people. They are not promoters as such of that cryptocurrency, but they are pseudo promoters. They will back it. They will say that I am the Doge father. Okay. They will say that I am buying this cryptocurrency. So since we live in a country where there could be manipulation that happens in the stock market, there is a word used as operators in common parlance. So are they really operators or are they really promoters? Just try to find that out. Is it a business or just a currency? This question is always also asked a lot of times. People in their white paper, jo hota hai na, white paper matlab my vision, my mission, and my objective. They compile that into a piece of paper, in a piece of document, and that is called as a white paper. So in that white paper, are they claiming that they are a business or are they claiming that they are just a currency? Try to understand that. If they claim that they are a business, you need to understand whether that business is doable or not doable, whether that business has prospects or it doesn't have prospects, whether that business will have takers in future or not, whether people will adopt their business or not. So if it is just a currency, then purely consider that the money that you're parking is a gamble. If it is a business, then you need to evaluate whether that business will take off or not. If it will take off, then probably the price of that currency may increase with time, may not increase with time. But if it is a business, it is generally deemed to be safer than just being a currency. Also understand, is it a country specific or an industry specific currency? Like, is this currency made only and only for people of one particular country, or is this made only and only for people of one particular industry? Try to understand that. Also, you should see what is the movement in the recent months. You should also see, is it easily traded on exchanges which can facilitate your transactions in your country? मतलब अगर क्या आप उस currency का trading कर सकते हो on these so-called self-assumed self-regulated exchanges or not? Bitcoin is just a currency. There is no business around it. There was a question asked in the chat box. Bitcoin is just a currency. In comparison, I told you, I give an example of Ripple. So Ripple is a business. It is not just a currency. Bitcoin is just a currency. It is no business. And Ripple is also owned by a corporation called as the Ripple Inc. So, which is a US-based company, and they are owners of Ripple Corporation, which provides the technology for transfer of money, for which you have to pay them in their currency, and their currency is listed across the world by the initials called as XRP. However, this is not investment advice. Then you also need to see, is conversion required to purchase that cryptocurrency? Iska ye matlab hai that can you buy that cryptocurrency directly, or do you have to swap it in multiple currencies in order to buy? Because if you have to swap it, it will only add to your cost, because every intermediary will charge you their commission, their brokerage, their fees in order to transact on that platform. And finally, on which exchanges is it traded? Are those exchanges operating in your currency and in your country or not? Next slide, please. Now, the way in India we have IPOs, initial public offer. Similarly, there's something called as an ICO. Now, what is an ICO? It is an initial coin offering. It is crowdsourcing of funds, where you say, I'm giving you my coins, but I'm not giving you equity in my company. The value of my coins may increase in future, may not increase in future, but I'm not going to give equity in my company. I'm going to give you coins. So how do you invest in these kind of ICOs? So generally, whenever there is a white paper floated, you will start approaching the promoters of that cryptocurrency or promoters of that white paper, and you will ask them that, can I buy your coins? So what is the value of a coin? So for example, the promoter may say the value of my coin is $1. I'm going to launch my coin at $1, but because you are an early investor, early adopter is the word that they use. Because you are an early adopter, I will give you a 30% discount. So $1 coin I will issue to you at 70 cents. Now, what happens is that by this, they are able to raise money for their business, and then they're able to start their operations if they really intend to do so. One classic example of an ICO is an Indian company, India-based company called as Drive Easy. Drive Easy is a company which gives rental cars. You can go anywhere in the country. Airport pe unki gaadi padi rehti hai. You go drive, self-drive. It's a self-drive rental car agency called as Drive Easy. Indian company registered in Bangalore. They came out with their ICO, which is an initial coin offering, not in India, but in Singapore, where it is regulated. So Drive Easy said that if you were to subscribe to one coin, one of my Drive Easy coins in Singapore, I will give you 1 hour of driving on any of my cars in India for free. So it was issuing coins for a service. So if you have bought 24 coins of Drive Easy in Singapore, you can drive 1 car of Drive Easy for 1 day for free in India. So this is how Drive Easy sold their unsold inventory for encashing it in Singapore without parting equity in India. Now, this is a new trend where people are doing this, and it is regulated in Singapore. So usme to kuch galat hai nahi. The ICO was done in Singapore where it is regulated. Now, whether that money, if that money comes to India, whether it was done, so it was done by a subsidiary of theirs. So when that money comes to India, it is a transaction between the holding parent company and its subsidiary incorporated in Singapore. So that is also permitted under FEMA. So this is how people are raising money. And this is a classic example. Do read about Drive Easy once you get time and if you're interested. Now there is a new trend which is happening in asset-backed cryptocurrencies. People say that, see, all other cryptocurrencies are not asset-backed. Okay, we are asset-backed. So of course, a lot of people come to me for the ICOs. They give me a clear offer, that ask your clients and friends and family to invest, we'll give you commission. So there's a new trend. I don't know whether I should call it as a scam or not, but there was this one particular person, UAE-based person, who came to me and asked me that we'll give you 25% commission for every sale that you do. So not that I was interested in their offer, but I wanted to understand how are they trying to get people into their net. So I asked that person that how are you asset backed? So they said that whatever cryptocurrency collection we do, that entire money will be invested in real estate in UAE. I said, fine, that's good enough. But whatever money you put, we will also give you a 2% dividend per month. I said, wonderful, that is too good to be true, but go on. I want to understand, how will you make that money? They said, we will buy that asset and then we will rent out the entire building. We are buying an entire building from the money that from our ICO, and that money we are going to put to use by renting out the property, and whatever the earnings from the property, whatever are the earnings we get from the property is what we are going to distribute as dividend. I said, that's interesting. Let's understand further. So then came a little bit, then came the tough questions from my side to them. I said that, who owns the building currently? So they said, we own the building currently. I said, whom are you selling it to? We are selling it to a decentralized mechanism of ownership, are the ones who are going to buy the coins of that cryptocurrency. Who controls the building eventually? They said, we only control the building. We manage, we operate, we give it on rent. I said, what if it doesn't go on rent? Well, just too bad. That's the risk that you have to take. Furthermore, I further inquired, at what price are you selling your building? They said an X price per square feet. I said, but that's not the price in the locality where your building is situated. So, and I said that, how much part of the building have you already sold to other people in the vicinity, other people from your project, which was the next building? Bola that the other building is not sold yet. So my conclusion was that you are trying to sell your unsold inventory in a decentralized mechanism where no one has control over your building. Effectively, you are the owner, you are the manager, you are the person who has possession of it, and you are the one who's controlling it. And under the disguise of creating an asset-backed cryptocurrency, you are crowdsourcing money, putting it into your project, and you are trying to relieve yourself from that project. बेसिकली आप अपना ही माल दूसरों को बेच रहे हो, जहां पे किसी और को ओनरशिप भी नहीं मिलती है, कंट्रोल भी नहीं मिलता, मैनेजमेंट भी नहीं मिलता, and you are claiming it to be an asset-backed cryptocurrency. So friends, going forward, more of these such cryptocurrencies are going to come in the market. And God forbid if that happens, if that gets regulated in India, people are going to lose money by the billions, not even millions. Millions so choti baat hai. People are going to lose money by the billions. God forbid if that gets regulated in India. Or if cryptocurrencies in whole as a asset get regulated in India. Now, as far as legal ambiguity is concerned, I have already explained what are the legal ambiguities related to it. And people are doing foreign listings because India mein kya hai, it is still not legal. So Indian promoters, Indian people, people sitting in Noida, Gurugram, Bangalore, Hyderabad, up north in Chandigarh, Delhi, these founders, these promoters are coming out with their ICOs in countries such as Estonia, Eritrea, Nigeria, Singapore. Singapore mein to fir bhi regulated hai, but the other three countries which I named, it is not even regulated over there. So, and it is done all anonymously, right? No one knows who's the owner of it, no one knows who's controlling it, no one knows who's operating it. In most cases, it also doesn't get disclosed in the ITR, or does not get or there is no mentioning or filing of FEMA forms to the RBI. So all of this as of now is happening, okay, but it may not necessarily be legal. So there is legal ambiguity right now. And as I said, there are scams in ICO listing. 82% of cryptocurrencies are found to be scams. So if one asks me, I think there was a question in the chat box. It said that in which cryptocurrencies should people invest, or how should we know whether it's a fraud or not? So I say that go by the figure disclosed by the Interpol, right? It's not my figure, it's by the Interpol. Interpol said that 82% of them are found to be scams 6 months after ICO listing. If you think that that particular cryptocurrency falls in the balance 18% in which you want to park your money, then you should go for it. It's a personal choice. It's a personal choice. So my only suggestion is that be very prudent before you put money in cryptocurrencies. Of course, there is a narrative which is being created. I don't know whether that will turn out to be true or not, that क्रिप्टो करेंसी सेफ है, क्रिप्टो करेंसी फ्यूचर है, क्रिप्टो करेंसी सही है, क्रिप्टो करेंसी बढ़ने वाली है, क्रिप्टो करेंसी में ही सब काम होगा. These are narratives. Who creates these narratives? I don't, though this is not necessary to mention, but still, for the benefit of our fraternity, benefit of the fraternity, for the benefit of fraternity, I will say that there is a lobbying agency. Okay, there is a lobbying agency. अब lobbying बोलते हैं तो मैं नाम तो नहीं बताऊंगा. There is a lobbying agency, New Delhi based agency, which is lobbying for all crypto exchanges, which is lobbying with the Ministry of Finance. If the sources who have told this to me is correct, it is, they are lobbying with the Finance Ministry that till when it is not illegal, okay, till when it is not illegal, they should be allowed to operate. This lobbying agency has been charging very heavily to the so-called self-assumed, self-regulated cryptocurrency exchanges. They've paid money in crores of rupees officially. Officially, they've paid crores of rupees to this one particular lobbying agency, which is wolf in sheep skin. Okay, they claim as if they're doing it for the benefit of the people. They changed the narrative. I'll tell you how. There was one foreign journalist of Western media. He gave an unverified report. The writer of the report says that this is an unverified report, that there are more than 100 million cryptocurrency users in India. Okay, the writer of the report himself claims that this is an unverified report, that there are 100 million users, मतलब 10 करोड़ यूजर है cryptocurrency के इंडिया में. On basis of that, this lobbying agency picks up that media article and gets it published in mainstream media. The leading newspapers, the best of the best newspapers, the best of the best media houses covered this and said that there are 10 crore users. Small, गरीब बेचारे लोग, 10 करोड़ लोगों का क्या होगा अगर गवर्नमेंट ने क्रिप्टो करेंसी बैन कर दी तो. Okay, so that was a narrative which was created. I'm being very cautious with the words that I'm using over here. That there was a narrative which was set by the media in India, which said that there were 10 crore users of cryptocurrency in India. Now, once the large media houses accept it and publish it, there are very small Twitter fighters or Twitter narrative creators or Instagram and Facebook based so-called journalists will amplify that report. So एक जन ने बोला कि 10 करोड़ यूजर है, तो उसके पीछे जो छोटे 100 लोग हैं उन्होंने भी बोला कि 10 करोड़ है. उसके बाद और छोटे जो लोग उसने भी बोला 10 करोड़ है. Now that kept on getting amplified over and over again, over and over again, over and over again. And you know, there is this saying which says that अगर आप एक झूठ को 100 बार बोलोगे तो people will assume it to be truth. A lie, if repeated 100 times, will turn out to be, people will start believing it to be the truth. Now, so there is a lobbying which is being done, and I can say it with a lot of responsibility, as I say. With a lot of responsibility, I can say that the narratives are being created in the media. So do not get misguided by the articles that you read in media. Okay, I'm being very responsible in my statement and in the choice of words. Okay, had this not been recorded and had it not been a forum of the institute, I would have given exact details of what is happening where. But due to this being a program of the institute, there are certain boundaries which I cannot cross and I do not want to cross. So as far as the media is concerned, do not go ahead, do not believe everything to be true what is there, what you read in the media. Okay, so do not get affected by the narrative. We are chartered accountants. We are quite equipped to know what is right and what is wrong, irrespective of the narratives which are being created or which are being presented to us in the media. Now, another question which has come is that can Mr. A create his or her own cryptocurrency in some other country? People are creating. I am aware of certain facts, that there are people who are creating their own cryptocurrencies in other nations. Yes, it can be done. Yes, it is being done. Whether it is legal or illegal, I cannot comment on that, because in my personal opinion, in India, it is illegal. Okay, so there is no doubt about India. But when it comes to people issuing cryptocurrencies in other countries, let us understand, is there a violation of FEMA anywhere? Is a violation of the SEBI? Is there a violation of any of the master directions or master circulars of RBI? I think yes. Why is it so? You buy a cryptocurrency on a so-called self-assumed, self-regulated exchange in India. Okay. Now, where do you sell or where do you transfer or what you do with it? Okay. There is no control over that because you are yourself is identified only and only in India because you have done your KYC. If you were to transfer that cryptocurrency to a person in any other exchange, anywhere in the world, okay, there is no control over it. I can also say this with a lot of responsibility that Maharashtra ATS had some officers of Maharashtra ATS once approached me and they asked me that what is this cryptocurrency? I asked, sir, आपको legal समझना है, taxation समझना है कि क्या समझना है? He said, we don't care about legal and taxation. Our concerns are much larger as far as public safety and public security is concerned. So I asked, sir, why? They said that of late, this is in 2017, back then they had caught certain people, certain antisocial elements. And believe me, Maharashtra IT has done a wonderful job. कोई गलत घटना घट जाती है तो उसके बारे में सबको पता चलता है that they failed, but there are many more which they catch hold of those culprits before the event takes place, before any antisocial public safety or public security event takes place. They catch hold of many people, which never comes out in the open. So they had caught hold of some people who were being paid by their handlers from overseas in cryptocurrency. Now, 2017 was a time when price had started increasing from $800 to $20,000. So these antisocial elements in India were getting restless. They said कि एक गलत काम करने का हमें कुछ पैसा मिलता है, उस गलत काम करने के बाद कुछ नहीं करो तो उस पैसे का मल्टीप्लिकेशन होता है. So they were excited. They said, please give us more money. We want to do something wrong. And they had caught hold of those people. Once they caught hold of such people on investigation through their own respective means, they came to know that they were getting paid in cryptocurrency. So more than it being a financial risk, I think it is a national security risk for the country, and government in its own wisdom will decide whether it is legal or illegal. But these are the risks associated with initial coin offerings. So is it a violation of FEMA? I think yes, it is a violation of FEMA as the act is as on various basis. And is it a violation of the laws and circulars of the RBI? Yes, it is a violation because RBI says even if you're sending a rupee out of the country or a dollar out of the country, it must be reported to the RBI. There are various forms which have to be filled, and there are recurring forms which have to be filed on a regular basis if it is an investment done abroad under the ODI scheme. None of these things are happening. So the clear answer to the question that was asked is it legal if you sell it on an exchange abroad? Yes, it is illegal as the law is right now. Can you transfer it to wallets abroad? As the law is right now, it is illegal. You cannot transfer it. And if you transfer it, you have to disclose it to the RBI. How will you disclose it to the RBI? There is no mechanism laid down as of now, but I think you have to approach your AD category 1 bankers, and you have to request them to facilitate you with an ODI transaction. Next slide, please. So when it comes to advising clients and advising family, I think a lot of people look up to us and for good advice related to cryptocurrency. So I think always explain what is the risk involved. The first is the regulatory risk, legal risk, hacking risk. So these are 3 primary risks. Then explain whether the matter is whether it is legal or illegal in India as things stand today. Then explain to them that what is the outlook in foreign countries. बाकी countries पे लोग क्या कर रहे हैं. Then also explain that there is a threat from hackers. You may get hacked. There is no guarantee that your wallets will not be hacked. Of course, and there is no assurance that they will get hacked, but it is not unhackable. Also explain that this may amount to money laundering under the rules of FEMA, and it's a violation of FEMA. And if you wish to stay away from any anti-money laundering activities, and from any money laundering activities, then you should try and avoid putting money in crypto. And till when it is not regulated or till when it is not legally classified as an asset, I have generally suggested everyone, again on a case-to-case basis, that this is not fully legal in India as on date because it is a clear violation of FEMA. Next slide, please. So this is the most widely used attack by hackers. They will hack your computer, they will hack your server, and then they will ask you for a payment, and that payment has to be in the form of cryptocurrency only. ये किसी और का screenshot नहीं है, मेरे खुद की company का screenshot है. My firm was hacked, and we were hacked on a Saturday night or a Sunday morning, and on Monday when we reached our offices, we saw this screen. And the irony is that just on that Sunday, when I was at another CP study circle in Mumbai, and I was talking about hacking threats for people who from hackers across the world. And on Monday morning, all I come to know is that my server itself is hacked. So this is my server which was hacked, and they've given instructions over here. So the hacker says that there was a security breach on your server. I said, okay, fine. Your system may have been compromised, because of which you may not be able to access your data anymore. In case if you wish to access this data, you need to make payment to us. This is our email ID. In case if we want to check our genuineness, we will send you 5 sample files. You can decrypt those files and you can see whether it is working well or not. Kindly do not go to any other third-party agency, because that will only increase your fees. मतलब वो hacker बोलता है हम B2B transaction करते हैं, आप direct मेरे पास आइए, किसी और के पास मत जाइए. आपको मुझ पे भरोसा नहीं है तो कोई बात नहीं, मैं पहले आपको सैंपल देता हूँ, आप पहले आप इस्तेमाल करो, फिर विश्वास करो इस मेरी सर्विस के ऊपर. Then in the last part over here that you see in orange, where they've written how to buy cryptocurrency, they are also warning maybe buying cryptocurrencies could be illegal in your country. This is how you have to buy cryptocurrencies, and this is a process by which you have to buy cryptocurrencies, and then you have to transfer that cryptocurrency to me. So my colleague called me. He's like, "Sir, अपना computer hack हो गया है, and I've already contacted the hacker. The hacker is a nice fellow. उसने बोला आप 2 Bitcoin दे दीजिए, वो अपनी सारी files release करके हमें दे देगा. So sir, आप कैसे arrange करोगे उसका payment? Sir, सिर्फ 2 Bitcoin देने. तभी कुछ, if I'm correct, $7,000 का भाव था when that had happened. So I asked my colleague. I said, "Do you know what is the price of Bitcoin?" He said, no, sir, 2 ही तो है, 2 coin नहीं तो देना, उसको दे दो ना कहीं से खरीद के. I said, it is $7,000. I said, he's asking for $14,000 as a payment. So I said that, do you think we are going to make payment of $14,000? He said, oh, $14,000. I said, yes, it's $14,000. So I told him 2 things. I said, first, I don't have $14,000 to pay. And second, just remove the hard drive. जो बैकअप लिया उसको रिस्टोर करो, कंप्यूटर को फॉर्मेट करो, रिस्टोर कर दो. So the only way is that to neutralize hacking threats is have a backup. We generally take a backup on Friday or Saturday, and वो backup मैंने बोला restore करो. Within 2 hours our system was up and running, and we were good to go. So the only way you can utilize these threats is take a backup. Please take a regular backup. It is the best thing that you will do to yourself. And one of the chartered accountants that I was speaking, काफी senior है, well-known senior, reputed gentleman of our profession. He said that his computer was also hacked, and the hacker had asked for say around 10 lakh rupees or 15 lakh rupees as the compensation or as a ransomware. So I asked, sir, क्यों दिया आपने? He said, मेरे पास backup नहीं था. I said, oh God, backup नहीं था. I said, sir, 5,000 की hard disk ले लेते सर, हो जाता backup आपका. Another thing, I asked that, sir, but what was that compulsive need to pay? He said, actually, I handle a lot of builders' records. And you know how some builders operate in Mumbai. So क्या था कि उनका that data was worth crores and crores, for which I had to pay a few lakhs from my pocket. So I said, sir, anyways, a lesson learned late in time, but nevertheless, it was an important lesson. Next slide, please. So, well, it is, this is a perception, you know. One fine day I was talking to my father, so he asked me that, what exactly is cryptocurrency? He said that you go and speak across the country on this topic. Let me explain. Let me understand what is cryptocurrency. So I explained to him, जो अपना 2 घंटे का ऐसा session हुआ, I explained to him also. And his conclusion was something which was quite wonderful, what he explained in one line. He said that there is someone who is taking your real money and giving you, and that in anticipation that the value is going to increase, and he's giving you something which is artificial money. So I said, yeah, I think that beautifully sums up what that money is. Someone is taking real money and someone is giving you digital money or artificial money. And it is a transformation that has begun. You may love it, you may hate it, but you just cannot ignore it. And hence it is important for us as chartered accountants to have understanding about cryptocurrency. As I said, it is not our job to develop blockchains. It is not our job to develop the technology. But what is our job is to understand how our role will change. And what is more important is that we must know it before the others. And this reminds me of a very good story which my grandmother used to tell me as a kid. that there is a jungle, and in a jungle there is a cheetah, and that cheetah is hungry, and there are two people who go inside the jungle. One is an optimist and one is a pessimist, and the pessimist says that there is no point in running away from the cheetah because knowledge says that cheetah is the fastest animal on this planet. The optimist says that I'm not trying to outrun the cheetah, I'm just trying to outrun you, so I'm still going to run and try to save my life. So we need not be the best at the best in technology. We only need to be better than the other people who did not join for the seminar on a Sunday morning. And you chose to join the seminar and spend 2 hours on a Sunday morning to understand a concept which is new and which is going to change our role. So if you are faster than your neighbor, I think you've done justice to the 2 hours that you spent over here in the morning. Next slide, please. So this is a copyleft disclaimer. Generally, हर एक presentation में copyright लिखा रहता है. Please feel free to use my presentation. Change my name, put your name, use it wherever you want to. No need to take prior permission from the author or the writer. ऐसे सब disclaimer कुछ भी नहीं. This is copyleft. मेरा नाम change कर लो, अपना ले लो, आप खुद present करना शुरू कर दीजिए across India. I'll be happy to see my presentation in some other presentation as well. The link has already been shared with the coordinators and the convener of the study circle. Please feel free to take it from there. Next slide, please. Will this presentation be shared? So this is not a PPT. This is an online presentation which has been prepared in a software called as Prezi. So आपको इससे भी एक link शायद मिल सकती है, subject to the rules of the CP study circle, and you all can access it anytime from anywhere on any device. So thank you very much. In case if there are any other questions, I think we can take for the next. We can take 2 or 3 questions. Over to the coordinators. Over back to Nishchit and Siddharth.
Yes. So it was a very great session, Vivek. And if there is any question, people, 1 or 2 questions we can take up. You can put it in the chat box.
Thank you very much.
Nice. We have God bless you for Vivek. Cool then. So it was a wonderful session. We are bang on time, finishing it as well. So that was good time management. We can see good praises for you, Vivek. And like a good thanking note, we have Siddharth Dwivedi here. We will give a brief thanking note.
Before you give a thanking note, I have a request for all the members of a study circle. If you like this presentation, okay, if you like this presentation, please search for Vivek Shah and Company on Google Maps, and please give me a 5-star rating. That really helps in increasing visibility as chartered accountants. So please do that. I really urge you, and that if you like the presentation, please give a 5-star rating on Google Maps to Vivek Shah and Company Chartered Accountants.
Sure. Immediately that will be done after this session.
Thanks.
Thank you, Nishchit. Thank you, sir. So to sum up, your dad has summed up in such a beautiful way. Original money get converted into artificial money. It's such a beautiful word. So you have given good in-depth knowledge and in-depth analysis for to our CA members. You have covered the topics like technology, blockchain, cryptocurrency investment, and their legality with practical examples. So you have also given the present status. What is the status of this cryptocurrency in India? So we thank you for such a beautiful presentation. And one more thing, thanks all participants to attend this lecture on Sunday. And so we are sure that every members get benefited from this webinar. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, everyone.
So it was a great participation by everyone, and thank you so much. This is me, Mr. Shetty. I would also like to thank each and everyone who participated. To end it, I would just end it with a small poetry by Emily Dickinson. And so the topic that we discussed today was, of course, talking for the future. Cryptocurrency for us chartered accountants, it's a very technical subject, and to hear it out from CA Vivek Shah himself, you broke it down to a very understandable manner. So the poetry says, the future never spoke, nor will he, like the dumb, reveal by sign a syllable of his profound to come. But of course, what we did is a great attempt to understand the future, and this future we will apply it in our day-to-day lives as well. So with this, we end today's seminar. Thank you so much, everyone, for attending. I will close the meeting for today. Thank
Thank
you.
you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir.